Good day and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today to our virtual session From Impact to Scale, Challenges and Successes Leading the Way to an Eco-Inclusive SME Action Agenda. My name is Alexandra Schiessendoppler, Head of Communications of SEED, and it's a pleasure to have you here today. I see you're joining us from different parts of the world. I see Malawi here, Thailand, Uganda, India, Zambia, Germany, and many more. That's great. Thank you for connecting. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to review a few technical details. First, I would kindly remind you to keep your microphones and cameras off. for today's session. For your questions, please use the Q&A function here in Zoom. It's in the toolbar below. We will try to address some of these questions in the end. For other questions regarding technical difficulties, for example, our chat host will be happy to assist you. But now, let's get started. We are all here today to celebrate Seed's 20th anniversary. We want to have a look together at both successes and emerging needs for the promotion of responsible, eco-inclusive businesses. We at Seed are proud of the long-standing joint achievements in the past 2 decades and are excited for what's to come ahead. The session today is only the kickoff of a series of celebrations. We just released the first of our Seed 20 years flagship report series about learnings of the past 20 years and a look forward to the next 20 years ahead. This year, we will also participate in various high-level events and celebrate in person together with our hosting partner Adelphi in Germany. And we will also have to and want to a lot of in-country celebrations in different parts of the world where Seed is currently active. But now, let's come to our today's session and have a look together at the agenda for today. First, we will start with our welcome addresses, keynote speeches by our founding partners and longtime supporters. After the welcome, we go into a panel discussion with enterprises and SME support organization, which will be sharing their challenges and success stories with us. And then we come already to the end of our session. Now I would like to introduce to you our today's host. With more than 30 years of experience in supporting to sustainable development related to environmental protection, consumption, and production, and green economy, focusing on providing support to small and growing eco-inclusive enterprises, Seed's Executive Director, Hoballah.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Good morning, good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you for joining us. We are already reaching out to almost 100, which is really encouraging and showing the interest. Dear Stephan, dear Geraldine, dear Stephan, dear colleagues, thank you for joining us at this important occasion, the 20 years anniversary of Seed. Yes, Seed turns 20 years. One of the few Type 2 partnerships launched in 2002, still alive, up and running. Turning 20 means becoming adult with new responsibilities and capacities after a sustained period of growth and consolidation. A 20 years anniversary celebrates achievements with joy and pride, but also looks into the future while continuing the journey with the new responsibilities of an adult. Let's go quickly through the journey of Seed and then assess needs for paving the way for the next generation of Seed, the next generation of small and medium enterprises, to further promote together, collectively, entrepreneurship in support to circular economy and sustainable development delivery. Seed has been launched in 2002 by UNEP, UNDP, and IUCN with a very strong push by Germany and United States of America at the time. It's a true global partnership looking at impactful change through small and medium enterprises. 20 years ago, it was not very common to talk about small and medium enterprises and initiate such initiative. It's here really to look at how we can trigger action at local level while stimulating, enabling global policies framework. It's focusing mainly on the social and environmental aspect of entrepreneurship, while of course caring about the business. Interestingly, SEED has been constantly evolving, not just taking one aspect, but constantly evolving from starter, replicator, catalyzer, and so on, and developing partnerships for collective action and greater impact. Simple diagrams that just to give you a picture on how SEED has been growing and has been assisting the small and medium enterprises, looking at their size, looking at their revenue, looking at their profit throughout the time. This diagram shows the evolution I was talking about, starting very slow at the beginning with limited amounts, resources, with limited consideration, awareness about the importance of small and medium enterprises, adapting progressively to the need, to the situation where we are today, covering a large number of issues of interest to small and medium enterprises. Of course, not all, but already covering a large spectrum of interest for them, creating hubs, seven hubs in different countries, and expanding it from the direct support to the enterprises, looking to the ecosystem, what we have around. So far, SEED has been able to work in 41 countries through three continents, Asia, Latin America, and Africa, with larger number of enterprises. These are the ones directly supported, but others have benefited a lot. And of course, in the context of the Sustainable Development Goal, which is an important objective for the whole world, SEED has been effectively contributing and providing effective examples on how we can really get the information on the ground to help the countries deliver on sustainable development goals. And interestingly, now that we talk a lot about gender issue, youth, women, and so on, more than 50% of SEED supported enterprise have female founder in addition to the workers and so on. Just one element to raise here. Growing, expanding, moving from the enterprise support to the ecosystem building, because it was of course interesting to support the enterprises as they are, but it was also important to see in which ecosystem they evolve, how we can make sure that we have the right policies and market approach to support them, how we can make sure that the finance does understand the needs of small and enterprises and provide them certain accessibility and adjust themselves to their needs. And once we have done these two aspects of enterprise support and ecosystem building, we need to care now about scaling up, because this is what we need. We have been working with many enterprises, but still a very limited number of enterprises, a drop in the ocean of the number of enterprises. So scaling up, working together with parties is absolutely essential for us. We just prepared recently a report on the lessons drawn from SEED plus 20 years of experience. It really makes great sense to work on the enterprise level. They have a potential. Their business model drives success. Their local solutions are here to help national and global problems to solve them. And they are job creators by securing resilience at local level. But before looking at the financial aspect, it was clear for us that we have also to care of the non-financial support that is requested, giving them the right capacity, enabling them in order to become more resilient and literate about the needs. Then, of course, going to the financial support, which is absolutely needed, but it needs certain steps, it needs certain capacity. Providing the right finance for the missing middle, what we call about this enterprises, is there's a growing interest about that, but we are not yet there. If you look at the amount allocated for small and medium enterprises, it's still peanut compared to their needs and compared to the finances allowed elsewhere. And at the same time, we understand more and more, if we want to care about the climate action, we need climate finance tailored to small and medium enterprises. And it is extremely important to understand from a political and policy perspective why and how to care about small and medium enterprises, the tailored support they required, and fill the gap for that. And market, of course, if they do business, they have to do a good business, they have to grow, and we need to empower the small and medium enterprises to go sub-regional, national, and global. And this can be only done also with better support from different partnerships and a stronger network. So yes, SEED makes very good sense to work with eco-inclusive enterprises, good environmental, social, and economic good sense. They build resilient communities, which are essential for stability in the countries, and they do contribute to climate objectives, adaptation, and mitigation. And we have seen an increasing interest around that. More and more international organizations are really referring to small and medium enterprises, are caring about them. All these institutions that are listed here have SMEs program, but most of them work in silo, and we need to see how to bring the things closer. So with this, we have been really considering how to better raise the impact and make sure that we can scale up for the next 20 years the work that SEED has been doing, but not SEED alone, SEED with the others. We need to break down the silos and make sure that we can collaborate, identify the pathways for scaling up, looking at the systems that are needed for that, and fostering the needed collaboration for this issue. Recognize the small and medium enterprises' impact on the sustainable development goals and get the right information for that, collect the right information and share it with the government to show them how they are effectively contributing to the national goals. And of course, last but not least, finance for the missing middle gap. We do have good experience around the world, but it needs to be strengthened through partnerships and mobilize specifically climate finance for small and medium enterprises. So SEED is more relevant than ever. It was relevant 20 years ago. It's more relevant today. When you think about thinking global and acting local, as of today, we are mostly thinking global, very limited action compared to the needs. More and more, they are recognized as the cornerstone of sustainable development. And from a title of a recent publication by OECD, No Net Zero Without the Small and Medium Enterprises, it's really time to act now and to make sure how we can strengthen the small and medium enterprises. For that, we need to bring together different stakeholders. We need to bring together different initiatives for a collective action to what we call a new global initiative, a coalition for innovation, circularity, and entrepreneurship, giving a voice to the small and medium enterprises while together at the same time providing enabling services, bringing them from the edge to the center of the discourse on sustainable development. They have to be duly considered in this research on transition to sustainable development, providing them with tailored financial resources for them, creating synergies among the SMEs, the network of SMEs, with large business sector institutions, and focusing primarily on what I call the net positive SMEs, the ones who are resource efficient, decarbonizing, contributing circular economy, and net positive innovation there. Objective again, keep on supporting and enabling the small and medium enterprises, providing them with the global voice, working together, accompanying them in their journey, and enhancing the system-wide innovation that is absolutely essential. 4 work streams that are proposed: curating collaboration, make sure that we come together for more synergy, understanding better the needs by generating insights, understanding their evolution, then of course supporting better the innovation, And last but not least, mobilizing finance for the missing middle. So at the end, I would like to summarize it this way. The coalition and the work of SEED in general is here to recognize and value the few bests of the small of medium enterprises to which we can have access to induce and move the rest of the SMEs and the transition to sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arab. I guess I'll just come in here, Arab, on the back of that really, really interesting overview of SEED at 20 years. My name is Stephen Stone. I'm with the UN Environment Programme. And Arab asked me to share a few words about UNEP's perspective on this very important anniversary. It seems that 2022 is a year of anniversaries because not only is SEED turning 20, but UNEP is turning 50. We turned 50 actually a few months ago, celebrated in Nairobi at the UNEP Environment Assembly. And it's also the anniversary of Stockholm. And many of you are looking at Stockholm, which happens in 2 weeks' time. We're actually very grateful because we have our co-chairs for one of the leadership dialogues, Germany, on this call as well. And Stockholm is a very important time because it enables us to look back. And as you've done today, Arab, for SEED, think about the environmental movement. How far have we traveled over the past 50 years? How far have we come over the past 20 years working with small and medium-sized enterprises? And how much still lays before us? How much more do we have yet to do? And Arab, you've laid some of that out this morning in terms of those areas where we can create more impact, more scale. And I'd like to share a few reflections with you today in my opening remarks, looking back a little bit over some of that time and especially recent history, the COVID pandemic, the lockdown, which really affected SMEs among the hardest, and then some thoughts looking forward as well. How do we pivot from this very interesting moment? So where are we? I mean, coming out of the COVID and the global lockdown, the hit to global GDP, but the hit to employment as well. We saw figures from ILO, more than hundreds of millions of people getting hit and sort of pushed out of the economy as a result of the lockdown. And we know that SMEs were among the hardest hit. They account for over 75% of all jobs in the sectors that were hardest hit, that include wholesale and retail trade, tourism, massively hit, construction, transportation, just to name a few. So SMEs really bearing the brunt of that frontline force, labor force that was carrying the economy forward. We saw a huge response to the lockdown and to COVID, over $18 trillion pumped into the global economy in rescue and recovery. But we know from our work with Oxford and other partners that less than 30% of the recovery spending actually was geared towards a sustainable transition. So the work and the purpose of SEED, creating entrepreneurs to develop green solutions to goods and services, very little of that was supported during the recovery spending. And even less of that made it through to lower income countries. A lot of that was sort of locked into high income countries. And just to give you an example, only 8 countries in Africa were able to offer any kind of employment support to SMEs or even large companies during COVID. So, and as we pull out of the COVID recovery, we're seeing a very uneven growth prospectus as well. We're seeing a lot of growth in some parts of the economy. So e-commerce, major amounts of growth in digital, also new products like electric vehicles and plant-based food technologies, these so-called impossible foods. But again, a lot of this benefiting higher income countries, and that's a lot of it because of the infrastructure as well, the digital infrastructure, which services this kind of demand. For example, over 70% of the SMEs, according to an OECD survey, implemented digital solutions to survive during COVID, but not all of that was shared in countries in Africa, in Latin America, and the Pacific to the same extent. We did see a big surge, however, in e-commerce from a very low starting point. For example, in Latin America, we know it jumped from 5% to 10% of all their customer transactions in just the first half of 2020. So the writing on the wall is clear. There's a huge avenue there for growth and potentially for sustainability by locking into this digital revolution. And the third point I wanted to mention here is one that you mentioned as well, Arab, localization. We saw that SMEs are rooted in the local community and they serve to build resilience They kept functioning even when times were tough and global value chains were hit or impacted by the lockdown. There's another aspect I wanted to share with you, which is there's a new wind in the sails of governance. At the UN Environment Assembly recently, just 2 months ago, governments decided to adopt a new negotiating framework for plastics. This is very, very large. This could change the regulatory space in which entrepreneurs build solutions for an economy that delivers products, goods, and services that are not heavy in plastic pollution. So that's a space to watch. And of course, there was a resolution also adopted on circular economy, which speaks to the work, Arab, that you've been doing on sustainable consumption and production over your very long career, and now as executive director of the SEED network. So a quick look to the future, just 3 points I want to share with you. The first is this growing demand for sustainable goods and services. It's very interesting. McKinsey did a global survey during COVID, and it said 1 in 3 global consumers said sustainability was a top purchasing criteria going forward post-COVID. So there's a clear demand to align our spending, our personal spending, with sustainability. And that's something that entrepreneurs can latch onto, and that's something that Seed's been doing for 20 years. So there's a big market opportunity there. The other thing that we saw was, during the lockdown, a lot of SMEs that had a green business model to begin with were very innovative. There's another survey that showed that over 2/3 of the small social and green enterprise they offered new products, services, and business models as compared to before COVID. So they really stepped up to the plate and delivered these new products and services through digital channels and e-commerce. The second point I want to make, looking to the future, is around equity and fairness. And I think you touched on this as well, Arab. It's one thing to support small and medium-sized enterprises in high-income countries that are fairly developed and have large amounts of infrastructure and educational opportunities. There's a large gap when it comes to lower-income countries, and there is a huge role for organizations like Seed to fill that niche, build capacity to implement resource efficiency and circularity practices, especially at the SME level, upscaling programs on skills development and approaches for upstream solutions, such as building in product lifetime or repairability, as opposed to downstream fixes like recycling. And then, of course, using the entire life cycle approach over the value chain. So we're really looking at where can we build in efficiency and avoid some of those losses that tend to end up in the environment over time, like plastic pollution, for example. As we go forward and we scale up, and Arab, you've talked about looking to the next 20 years. Of course, UNEP's been there from the beginning with Seed, and we intend to stay in this space. We think it's very, very important. We've been working for over 10 years in the SME space, specifically through eco-innovation approaches, working with a number of partners, including Seed, but also UNIDO, the Resource Efficiency and Cleaner Production Centers. I used to be based in Latin America, and I worked with the Inter-American Development for many banks. We also worked with Cleaner Production Centers when I was in Quito. I saw the power of working with chambers of commerce and small businesses to create solutions that serve a market and build jobs at the same time. So these are all elements of the forward play. I guess if I have 3 concluding remarks today, of course, number 1, happy birthday. Arab, to you, to the whole Seed network. It's 20 years is an important time to reflect. Number 2, the next normal reshapes the market and the role of small and medium-sized enterprises and their value chains. Let's rethink at this time how to build into that niche that's emerged. It has a strong digital underpinning, but it also has a strong local underpinning. How do we build that? There are urgent need to boost efforts at financing, you called the missing middle, Arab, technology and capacity for circularity and innovation, with partners such as UNIDO, such as UNEP, others who are in this space. Seed clearly has a very important role to play, and speaking on behalf of UNEP, we will be with you on this journey. Thank you so much, Arab, and thank you, colleagues, for this opportunity to be with you today. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Stephan. Alexandra, Simon.
Good morning to you all. Let me start by expressing my appreciation for the invitation extended to the government of Flanders on this special occasion. Actually, I'm in favor of birthday parties including those where you have to bring your own booze. Allow me to therefore raise a glass to Adelphi's 20 years anniversary. Cheers. It is my pleasure to share our experience regarding our cooperation with Adelphi. My colleague, Geraldine Reymenants, will elaborate on the achievements and the way forward for Adelphi. As desk officer in Brussels, I would like to complement her message by talking about the things that aren't visible in annual reports nor in evaluation and so forth. Firstly, and on a personal note, it's always a pleasure to interact with the staff of Adelphi. It would seem that friendliness, correctness, and openness are important selection criteria when you hire your staff. This is much appreciated as it makes for smooth communication. Secondly, Adelphi is the extreme opposite of an old-school development organization. You have clearly understood that clear communication products are imperative in order to feed the debate. Your graphs and figures are user-friendly and appealing. This assists me to gain immediate insight into the problems, the opportunities, and the results achieved. So, a big shout out for the graphic team. Thirdly, your organization has shown itself to be extremely flexible. This was evident by the way in which projects smoothly and seemingly effortless transitioned into COVID mode, which subsequently allowed for remote training and consultancy during the pandemic. And last but not least, Adelphi actively engaged with both donor and beneficiary. As donor, we are challenged to think about our role in supporting private sector for development. The topic is extremely relevant, but also delicate, and I think this is an issue for many donors. We want to support the development of SMEs, but shy away from tied aid and any kind of export subsidies. The model of Adelphi makes sense for us and enables us to make positive changes on the level of the enterprises and on the level of the policy environment. This is why I'm looking forward to involve Adelphi as well in our future cooperation with Morocco. That being said, it's now my pleasure to give the floor to Geraldine Reymenants, our General Representative in Southern Africa. I wish you all a memorable and fruitful event and look forward to our next encounter. Thank you.
Seed is turning 20. 20 is an exciting age. Having made it through childhood adventures and the challenges of puberty, we find ourselves on the brink of adulthood. A time to consolidate the lessons of those first decades and prepare for the next phase of life. After 20 years, Seed too has come of age. It is time to consolidate your successes and reap the rewards, but also to step up the pace and realize even more impactful and transformative change. The government of Flanders is proud and happy to have journeyed with Seed for almost half of its existence, supporting projects throughout the Southern African region. Our support stems from the conviction that the social and green economy as a sector can drive sustainable job creation and tackle both societal and environmental challenges. SMEs play a vital role within the broader economy as a source of employment and by enhancing economic growth, competition and innovation. Social, environmental and eco-inclusive enterprises are crucial for green, inclusive and sustainable growth and for climate change mitigation and adaptation. Throughout our partnership with Seed and its implementing partner Adelphi, Flanders has gained greater understanding of inclusive and green entrepreneurship and has been introduced to relevant stakeholders. We strongly believe in the Seed model, which offers startups concrete tools and working methods to ensure their successful and sustainable growth. Flanders has supported Seed projects in Southern Africa to capacitate both startup and more established eco-inclusive enterprises via direct capacity, financial support and improved quality and availability of business development support services. Conventional enterprises have received support as they move towards green and inclusive business models, and successful social and environmental business models have been replicated. SEED's activities have resulted in many innovative and locally driven initiatives that benefit vulnerable and disadvantaged groups, whilst simultaneously focusing on sustainable management of natural resources and ecosystems. More than 2,000 enterprises have received support, with over 7,000 direct jobs created. Given that 88% of SEED winners remain active 5 years later, the success of this model is tangible. SEED has the advantage of being active in different countries, thereby stimulating the exchange of good practices and lessons learned. To support SMEs efficiently and effectively, however, there must be an appropriate policy context, investment possibilities, and agile state-owned agencies. Flanders, therefore, also supports research regarding the impact, challenges, and needs of social and eco-inclusive entrepreneurship, with the objective to enhance the policy framework needed for the enterprises to grow. We commend Adelphi for their commitment to enter increasingly into the policy space, which is a challenging arena requiring adequate leverage. SEED and Adelphi are well placed to do so, given their extensive engagements with multiple partners in government, academia, and civil society. Looking to the future and the next 20 years, the role of net positive SMEs as high potentials for driving the green transition will only become more crucial. SMEs and policymakers must be brought together to identify what enterprises need if they are to achieve growth, while simultaneously achieving policy objectives for climate change and social inclusion. We also encourage SEED to connect SMEs with medium and larger enterprises, thereby providing environmental and business solutions which are ready for application and upscaling for those companies seeking a transition to more sustainable production practices and a green economy. All of which opens interesting possibilities for exchange, partnerships, and funding. To achieve a green and just transition, we will need to mainstream sustainable practices throughout the entire economy. SEED and Adelphi are already providing the groundwork of support for startups, incorporating social inclusion, sustainable environmental aspects, and good governance from the outset. The questions to be asked and addressed going forward are challenging. How do you now maximize the success rates and impacts of these startups? How do you translate that into economies of scale? How to put compliance to the recently publicized green taxonomy higher on the agenda? We trust that SEED and Adelphi can and will take up these challenges, building on 20 years' experience and your network of innovative SMEs. We congratulate you on your achievements so far and look forward to our continued partnership as you test these new waters.
Thank you very much, Geraldine, Simon, and Flanders for this very encouraging message. And we will definitely keep on our cooperation, and hopefully we strengthen it for the next 20 years, building on the successes which were also achieved with your great support. Let us now move to the next, Stephan Contius, the key pillar behind SEED. Stephan, the floor is yours.
Dear friends, dear colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind us a little bit how this whole adventure started, very briefly. It was an initiative coming from two governments, the US government and the German one, in the preparation of the Johannesburg summit. So the State Department in Washington and the Environment Ministry in Germany were looking for something concrete, as we saw the negotiations stalled in many areas on United Nations Sustainable Development language. And to have something concrete, we thought, why don't we reach out to the wisdom in local communities, the wisdom with the indigenous communities, the wisdom we find in small initiatives, in SMEs, stakeholder initiatives, etc. Together with the State Department, we then moved forward, and we were, from the very beginning, very much supported by IUCN and UNEP, both organizations interested in this conceptual approach, reaching out to those who have solutions and who need help to replicate them, and also to have their own business case validated. There came a strong interest later from UNDP as well, and of other government institutions, and we were very glad that the government of Flanders was with the initiative for such a long time and is with the initiative now. And also we are very thankful for the European Commission for their continuous interest in such work. But most important, of course, were and are those who do the job. And I would say that without the tremendous efforts of Helen Marquardt as executive director and Hoballah, we wouldn't see this what we see today. It is a long story, building on the expertise of Adelphi and many other think tanks, Adelphi in the core. It is an effort which is impressive for several reasons, which I will outline later. And I also would like to thank for the leadership shown by the chair of the SEED board, Crispin Rapine. It is crucial to move such an institution efficiently and also with the necessary charm to convince everybody to look for solutions and not so much focusing on problems you can't solve anyhow. So this is the work done by Helen Marquardt, now by Hoballah and Crispin Rapine as chair of the board. And we in the German ministry are very thankful to the three of them and to Adelphi, the staff of Adelphi, who is the backbone of this effort. We have a closing window of opportunity in front of us. It is step-by-step closing. Decarbonization of our economies, of our societies, cannot afford to move forward only on classical climate issues as energy efficiency and renewables. It has to take on board also circular economy, resource efficiency, nature issues, etc. We all know how this is interlinked. And who knows it better as than the initiatives in developing countries SEED is working with. They know it. We hope that more people will learn it, and the strong role of multi-stakeholder initiatives, of small and medium enterprises in this effort to make good use of all possibilities during the time the window of opportunity is still open is very, very important. So we are very glad that SEED will be visible at Stockholm Plus 50 and in other fora like the High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development in July in New York. It is work which can be replicated as we saw over the last years and is replicated with the support of those who do the daily work in Munich, Berlin, and elsewhere. And we hope that this will continue. We hope that those who are on our side as funding partners realize the beauty of this network, not only today, but also in the future. We are convinced that with the strong knowledge we have in those local initiatives and SMEs, in the personalities I mentioned, and with the staff of Adelphi, that we can move forward and broaden the group of governments supporting SEED. I would like to finish here so that we have a good discussion right afterwards, a good event. So thank you to those who are involved, and good luck for the next few months, Stockholm, HLPF, etc. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephan Contius. Allow me, you have been thanking the different partners. Allow me on behalf of SEED, all the entrepreneurs, the SMEs, and all the partners, to thank Germany, BMU, and to thank you in person, since you are, and have to say the word, you are the godfather of SEED, for your invaluable support and wise leadership. Thank you very much. And now, yes, we will move to the panel discussion to hear from the entrepreneurs that we have been praising, hear from their stories and how they have been conducting their work and how we can move further in improving the work. Let me now call in Harry Malichi, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Harry Malichi, and I am the CEO of Wuchi Wami Limited, an eco-inclusive enterprise that produces locally certified organic honey and wax through a cooperative called Kwasha Indimi. Initially, the traditional beekeeping is where smallholder farmers in Mwinyilunga and northwestern Zambia uses the bark hives made from cutting down the indigenous Miyombo trees that have taken over 40 years to grow. And because this is the only major economic activity of our people in Mwinyilunga, they have no option but to cut them so that they can make the beehives. It is also important to note that one bark hive that these farmers make requires 3 Miyombo trees, and a tree that should have helped preserve or absorb 21 kilograms of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The people of Mwinyilunga and Northwestern are into this bark hive and sustainable way of beekeeping. And we have, on average, from Northwestern, over above 20,000 farmers in beekeeping. And on average, every farmer is producing 150 bark hives. That means each season, 3 million beehives are being produced. And in turn, this is destroying over 12 million trees each season, which is quite very bad. And that's why in 2018, we founded Wuchi Wami Limited And together we also founded Kwasha Indian Cooperative to begin to substitute an environmentally and sustainable traditional beekeeping where the farmers are cutting down these trees. So now we give them the top bar beehives that are made from easy to plant softwood and are also inclusive, which allows the women as well to participate and the youths. Because when you go back to the traditional beekeeping, it's labor intensive and only men and also physically sustained men are able to do this. So this has been a challenge for many years, but then today we are happy to be here to also share our story of what we're doing. Yes, I'll go back to our successes. You know, we yearn for a world, we yearn for a Mwenlunga or a northwestern Zambia, where children are able to go to school, where our Miombo trees are sustained. And therefore, to achieve that, since 2018, we have quite a good story on our impact. We have been working with 2,500 smallholder farmers. And these we are creating sustainable livelihoods, because then you don't substitute a bad act without nothing. You have to give them a better off activity so that they can forego the bad act. And that's why through our model of top bar hives, we have managed to substitute, and we're working with 2,500 farmers. We are also there to ensure that they use these softwood bag hives, because then the women are able to participate, because in the actual sense, for many years, the women have been left out and they've been complaining, but 2018 was the year that their miracle came and we began to work with them. And as we speak now, we have over about 200 farmers that are women and that own a beehive and are able to produce honey to sell to us as well. And coming to the environmental side, we, through our model, are preserving 68,000 hectares of land, because then this is the land in which these farmers are using, and we're giving them these beehives and they plant in these forests, the Miombo forests, and therefore they are not going on with the cutting down of the Miombo trees. And we have also managed on our numbers to preserve more than 125,000 trees. And we hope to continue to increase this number even as we grow, as we scale up, because of also the opportunities that seed has brought us. And on the economic side, we have generated an income for these 544 farmers that we're working with, because then they have the beehives. We've empowered them with the top beehives that have taken us almost around 850 to produce. But then we give it to them. We are an SME because we believe in the future. We sacrifice to be able to make these beehives and give them to the farmers so that they can offset what is being done to the forests. And from that, we have managed to track down our impact. And the farmers that we onboarded, that were making almost about 214 kwacha on a month, because of the high yield of the top bar beehives, they are now earning 744 kwacha every month. So this is quite something that we glory in, and we are excited to continue to do this work. Yes, and you see, 2021 was the best year for us as Wuchi Wami, because then that's a year that we new seed, and it's also the year that we won the Climate Adaptation Award. And you know, in the first place, we thought we just lacked money, but through the award came with the monetary money and as well the capacity building. And we've been going through trainings with SEED for over a year now. And now when we sit today, we realize that actually our main challenge was not money only. We needed the capacity building to be able to redefine our company, to be able to scale up and also be investor ready. So in 2021, actually, because of the capacity building that SEED has been providing to us, we managed to onboard a partner, the first financial partner in our time as a Wuchi Wami. And now through SEED as well, because then we have had continuous capacity building, even the resources, even the funds that had come on our company, we are able to manage them very well, and we're able to track our growth projection. And this really has been a milestone to us, because now we're able to impact more farmers, because we are now a solidified team, and now we are a scalable business. So now we are contributing a lot now to our farmers. Yes, so this has been quite a very good thing to us. And you know, any business will always have these challenges, and more importantly, and more especially to, you know, the inclusive businesses, we face a lot of challenges, because then we are SMEs. These SMEs, we only believe in the future, and therefore we are ready to sacrifice. We've been sacrificing since 2018, and these all are challenges that come on board. And since 2018, when we began giving our farmers their beehives, it was quite strenuous, because then we lacked finance. You know, we lacked green finance, and also an ecosystem that is able to provide continuous in-depth capacity building. Because if you is, do we have the money? But then we realize that not only do we need the money, we also need a continuous in-depth capacity building. Because I mean, we are fighting challenges that the whole world faces. And the challenges of Zambia or the people of Mwenilonga are close to the challenges of the people of Kenya, the people of Uganda. So we have to ensure that we come on board and be able to work together, because then we know that if Wami, which is in Mwenilonga, the outskirts of Zambia, is able to ensure that we change the mindsets of our people, and we scale up on our forests, and the better forests will contribute to a better climate. And this is what we glory in. And our journey will not end today. We continue to work hard together, and we continue to collaborate and find more synergies that are sustainable, and that will help us, you know, have robust systems that also will help us ensure that this model, the model of Wami and Kwashiorkor, is expanded to other countries, is expanded to other regions, so that the fight of Wami continues to scale up. And I know that we will leave the world a better place. So it's been an honor. And since we joined SEED in 2021, which is last year, we have experienced growth that when we look at, we're producing 5,000 units of our honey, which is 2.5 tons on a month. Now, as we speak today, because of the many partnerships, because of also the confidence that has come because of working with SEED, now as we speak, we are exporting our honeys to even Botswana, and on a month, we're producing 18 tons from 2.5 tons on a month. So all this is something that we have to appreciate SEED for. And it's an honor actually to be able to also go through the capacity building. And we are excited for what the next years are gonna be for us. And thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to grow and also learn and move and, you know, just create a lot of impact together with SEED. So those are my remarks. And I would want to say again, happy 20 years to SEED. And we're excited to be a part of your story. And also the people of Mwenilonga are excited, even though they can't see you now, but we know that they are excited in their farms, in their local places. They are excited that they are a part of this story. Thank you so much.
Harry, thank you very, very much. You describe a truly eco-inclusive, successful enterprise, caring about biodiversity, about the forest, about the bees, which are essential for our own survival, while still making business, employing women, creating local resilience, and accessing the market. Fantastic success And we are proud from our side to have been able to contribute a little bit to what you did, because at the end of the day, it's your idea, it's your work, and that has led all this. So thank you very much. Thank you for highlighting the importance of non-financial support together with the financial support so that the business continues while you do have in-depth capacity building continues. And this is exactly what you are aiming at. Let me ask you just a small question, because I don't know at the end if we will have the time for that. You are exporting to another country. How easy is it for you to access the market? What is the demand that you foresee around, and what would be your capacity to keep on developing without impacting negatively on the ecosystem in which you are working?
Thank you so much for that question. You see, our hope is in having systems that are able to compete competitively on the global market. And that's why the need for capacity building is very important, because then for your product to attract a lot of value on the other markets, it has to be competitive. And we should not glory just in being SMEs, but we begin to package, we begin to model our systems, our quality controls to be able to meet the standards of the export market. And much of it is on capacity building and finance, because when you have an automated system to be able to bring about a better product that will be competitive on the global market, not just the neighboring countries, but Europe and the other continents, you need to have a continuous growth trajectory in terms of your quality control in your packaging. And this is why we are very proud to associate ourselves to SEED, because of the capacity building. Because when you package yourself, and even when the money comes on board, you will have systems that will help you scale up. It's scalability, but then scalability cannot happen when you don't have the systems that should be able to take you out there. And because we believe in a green economy, all our actions have to ensure that we continue to act on the net positive, and just ensuring that our economies are green. And we are the best people to carry this agenda, because we then understand the numbers and how these numbers affect our climate change. So then we are here to ensure that we grow. We are here to ensure that we amass all knowledge so that we grow, because then to offset what has been done to the world, the damage that continues to be done to the world, we have to ensure that we have a robust network of the eco-inclusive enterprises that are scalable, because then this is the only way that the world can have a balance. So we are actually very excited for what is coming ahead, because we understand the mandate that we have as Wami. We understand the agenda, and we are focused to ensure that even as we grow, we're not adopting models that will bring about, again, the climate changes. So we want to ensure that we focus on what we began with, and we will continue to grow like that. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, thank you. You clearly have a very well understanding of your business model and the context in which it's evolving. We need to work together to better advocate for it, to better promote. And we do hope at SEED that we will continue the journey with you to make your business more visible, expanding while contributing to the biodiversity protection and ecosystem. Thank you very much, Harry. We will continue together. Let us move now to our second panelist, Franc from Ecoplastile. Franc?
Hello, can you hear me?
We do, please come in.
Great, I am supposed to be sharing my screen. The technical person, I think is supposed to be. Okay, fantastic. My name is Franc, Kamugyisha. I am joining live from Uganda. I am a founder and CEO at Ecoplastile. And what we do is we recycle plastics and construction waste to make affordable, sustainable roofing tiles that save timbers, but also make plastic plumbers that substitute the use of wooden timbers in the day-to-day construction process. Of course, we're one of the seed finalists in 2019, and since we joined the seed from 2019, we were able to refine our business model, because our business model at that particular time, we were doing plastic collection ourselves. But once we joined the seed program, we were able to map a business model that would easily scale to make even a much bigger impact, but also make our operations more efficient. And so we started working with collection centers. So we have now collection centers that we work with. So the people collect plastics and we guarantee to buy plastic from them. And once we get these plastics at our factory, we also get a construction waste, and we use these materials using chemical film processes to manufacture roofing tiles that we sell to the construction sector. This startup is based on my personal experience. Having grown up in a slum community, I witnessed firsthand consequences of poor plastic waste disposal, with a lot of plastics littering everywhere on the streets, clogging sewers, and encroaching onto our homes. And of course, this coupled with the housing deficit, with more than 2.5 million houses missing in Uganda, growing at over 200 units per annum, which is a similar situation in most cities. It sparked our need to start Ecoplastile to use the problem of plastic waste to create a sustainable solution to the housing sector by creating opportunities for the marginalized youth and women. And these have been part of our success stories. First of all, we were able to shift to pivot our business model from us collecting the plastics ourselves to working with more youth and women across the plastic value chain to be our collection agents. And through the seed catalyzer program, we were able to understand how to measure the impact and also monitor this impact. And to date, we've been able to recycle more than 360 metric tons of plastic, creating over 180 direct and indirect jobs, especially for youth and women across the plastic value chain, along the way increasing their income from $2 to over $7 per day. But we have also empowered more than 1,000 communities in these slums to enable them to understand how to deal with the problems of plastic waste, but also have recently launched a program called Waste Insure. Now, the Waste Insure is COVID-19 for us was a wake-up call. During the pandemic, we were not able to work, and so we started thinking of how do we now respond to this pandemic, and we introduced the digital component of our business model through Waste Insure, which is a digital plastic for healthcare insurance scheme. Now, with this scheme, we are able to offer healthcare insurance for people using plastic waste as a form of financial resource. Beneficiaries on this scheme, which shows that it's a scheme that is that has much potential to be replicated because it uses technology. And we have been able to sell over 50,000 roofing tiles to our happy customers, including Aroma Vital. You can have a look at Coca-Cola, GIZ, and of course, not forgetting selling roofing tiles in a different country, because we are based in Uganda, but we have been able to now sell our tiles in other countries like Rwanda and Kenya. Now, we go to the challenges. We are at a stage where we need to scale. Scaling is our biggest challenge right now. We already have a working business model. We already have a model that is making impact. And our goal by 2025 is to recycle more than 2 million kilograms of plastic and transform this into sustainable roofing tiles per year. And this will definitely enable us to create over 20,000 green jobs directly and indirectly across the plastic value chain. And of course, this will enable us to sell over 2 million tiles, attaining a valuation of 15 million euros in revenues. And so the biggest challenge at this particular point is access to capacity to be able to scale and replicate this model, but also access to finance. And this is why I want to end my presentation by saying that we need more of blended financing to SMEs like Ecoplastile and other eco-inclusive SMEs across the globe if we are to go towards net zero. I agree with Areva that there is no net zero if there are no SMEs. Happy birthday, C at 20. We are so excited to be part of the story. I know a network of our plastic collectioners across the plastic value chain are very excited to have been part of the seed story since 2019. And we hope for a better story in the next 20 years. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, and happy birthday, Seed at 20. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. What a nice business model. And I hope that the potential donors have listened to you and they got the message. We need more financial support, blended finance, to be able to support Frank and his colleagues to make this very successful business scaled up in order to provide alternative eco-friendly building materials. So thank you very much. And you also responded to one of the questions that has been put on the chat, if the SMEs are ready for digitalization. You prove it, you are doing it. So you can effectively do it. And I'm sure that the others are also doing it. So yes, small and medium enterprises can easily access to digitalization. It's not such a big investment. And at the end of the day, they will understand how useful this can be in improving the management and their knowledge. And you also working on a field that could be extremely interesting today for UNEP. You have heard Stephan telling that last UNEA approved the preparation for a global agreement on plastics. So they should probably get closer to you and understand what element they have to take from there to insert in this declaration, this global agreement on what is feasible, what can be effectively done. But let me just ask you a small question. I know your need for finance and so on, but what is the policy framework in the country that could be of help for you? Do you have, is the government well aware of your work? And would there be a kind of procurement policy that can give you some priority for your product? Does it exist? Or would it be worth working on it while we can accompany you on other issues?
Wow, fantastic question. What a fantastic question. I must confess, and I believe that the government really is doing all it can do to support, to support businesses, SMEs, across the country. But it really has, I think, a lot of other things that they think are priority to them. And I think green SMEs is not a priority at this time. So this is why we need to, work closely together with the seed partners to make sure that governments, not only my government, but governments across the world get to understand the role of SMEs in the green transition. So I have a feeling that governments do not take green SMEs as a priority at this time. But that's my thinking.
We know it.
We have, but in our case, we are trying to work with the different government agencies. Of course, they are helping us, of course, to, for example, giving certification for a new products. And for example, like our roofing tile is a new tile. It's a new roofing tile. So when we introduced this tile in Uganda, they didn't have even a standard because it's an innovation. So we had to work with other material lab in Switzerland and Germany to have research to prove that this is a concept that works. This is a product that is safe for people to use. And so working together with the government and other development partners, we are able to prove that the technology works and it's safer for people to use, and it contributes definitely to the economic success of my country, but other countries.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just a brief question from somebody on the chat. Just give me a reply. Are your tiles that are from recycled plastic and other material, are they fireproof?
Sorry?
Are they fireproof? I mean, would be
Oh yeah, fantastic. Great, that's a fantastic question. Yes, because the technology we use to recycle these, to make these roofing tiles, we use a lot of inorganic materials. So the plastic in this process acts as a binder. It replaces the use of cement. So we are replacing cement in the production of these tiles. So we just use small plastic to bind sand and other components, and we add actual fire retardant, so they are fireproof.
Okay, very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And we really look forward to accompany you in your next, in your journey. And we look forward to have this coalition that we are preparing for that could provide you with additional support and to accompany you together with government and with the market, looking at the standardization and improving digitalization. So look forward to continue working with you and to help you scaling up your business as much as we wish to do it with Harry and Wishimami and also the next one. So thank you very much, Frank. And let us move now to our next speaker from Indonesia. Riesa Putri, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much, Arab. I have a slide presentation, and Simon will help me to. Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Riesa, but you can call me Icha, and I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Perfectfit, one of the runner-ups for 2021 Seed Low Carbon Awards. Perfectfit is the first Indonesian-made period underwear to enable women to have more power during their menstruation. So I'm really honored to be here as a representative from Indonesia. So thank you so much for Seed to inviting me. Let me take you a little bit back to when I was 11 years old. That was when I got my first period, and I threw away my underwear because I was so scared and confused. My underwear had blood stains all over it. I didn't know it was my first period. Then my mother finally told me that it was your first period, so here's pad, go wear them. And then I never really know about menstruation before I got my first, and I didn't have a chance to explore any other alternative products other than disposable pads. More than a decade later, I realized that there is a massive problem of menstrual product in Indonesia. So the first one, 95% of menstruating women in Indonesia use disposable pads, creating more than 7 billion pads waste per year. And single-use pads contains chemicals, making women feel uncomfortable during menstruation, hence limiting the ability to move freely. And the last one, Indonesian women are not used to tampons, making menstrual cup as an undesirable alternative and deemed culturally inappropriate to insert something to one's vagina. Next slide, please. To address these challenges, we started Perfectfit as a social project back in 2018 to educate people in Eastern Indonesia about menstruation and support them with comfortable and affordable reusable pads. By today, we have produced more than 30,000 reusable pads through women tailors in East Nusa Tenggara province and reach more than 6,000 women that use reusable pads through sales and free distribution, eliminating 600,000 pads waste per year. And in 2022, we realized that the problem occurs not only in rural Eastern Indonesia, but also in big cities like Jakarta, where women still lack in knowledge about menstruation and access to comfortable and sustainable period product. Thus, we spun off Perfectfit from a social project to social enterprise And after a year of product development, we launched the first Indonesian-made period underwear to support the needs of urban women. Why period underwear? Because it's as easy as wearing your normal underwear, but no need to insert anything, and it can last up to 4 years. With these products, we're able to support women to feel comfortable and at the same time helping them to eliminate 100 pads waste per year. We also implement a buy one, give one program where every purchase of period underwear, a pad will be distributed to women in need. This is one of our fundamental business model to eradicate period poverty. By today, we have produced 6,000 premium products for urban market and gained $10,000 revenue in 4 months. With the support from SEED, we're able to elevate our digital presence through promotion on ads and marketing. And the knowledge from SEED support also help us shape our internal processes to be much more organized and efficient. Next slide, please. Our biggest challenge to implement a green and inclusive business is how to educate the people that the impact of social and environmental is related to their monthly experience. And in this case, menstruation, which is a big taboo issue in Indonesia, and I believe they're still the same in many countries. It is a long journey ahead to influence a small percentage of 80 million menstruating women in Indonesia to be fully understood about their menstruation and convert to a more sustainable period product. However, we believe that we're not alone. There are many organizations and impact investors who's willing to put the resource toward female hygiene issues because we have worked and collaborated with international and national NGOs and government. Also, the importance of mass media to normalize discussion about menstruation is vital. And lastly, I hope that there will be no more confused 11-year-old teenage girl like me who throw her underwear because they got their first period. Thank you. And once again, I would like to congratulate SEED team for the achievement as a global leader in supporting green and inclusive business. Back to you, Arab.
Thank you very much, Riesa. And we want to congratulate you for taking this initiative. I should say that as a man, I'm impressed by the creativity of women for such important issues. And this is not the first one I hear about. I remember 5 years ago, we gave an award to another one who have been using banana leaves, waste and so on. So this ingenuity is just spectacular. And at the same time, it is socially responsible, environmentally friendly, culturally sensitive. This is important in your case in Indonesia with the society around you, and still economically viable. How this is exactly where the investors has to come. I mean, when we listen to those 3 enterprises, I'm just asking, I mean, where are there those investors? They don't see what's happening there. And this is something that makes good business sense. Of course, they prefer to invest in billions because it's difficult for them to invest in 10,000 or 20,000, but that's exactly where we want to work together for scaling up. So let me ask you a simple question. As I told you, I'm impressed by this creativity. What is your target group? I mean, are you reaching rather to the villages, to the local communities, or are you accessing to the urban people who are used to the traditional system? And how do you see how they are receiving your product? And what market do you have around you there?
Yeah. As your information, Arab, in Indonesia, there are 80 million menstruating women. And the feminine hygiene market in Southeast Asia is valued at $4.4 billion. And Indonesia contributes to 34% of it. So it is really big market. And with our sustainable product, we really realize that when we talk about reusable products, it's gonna be more expensive at first. Like you need upfront investment. And sometimes it's really hard for people in low-income communities. So that's why we have 2 different target markets. So the first one, we targeted urban market, which have disposable income and they desire to have more, well-designed product So we sold the menstrual underwear to urban market, whereas in the rural areas where women have limited access to other sustainable products, we subsidize that by implementing a buy one give one model, where every time an urban woman buy the product, a pad will be distributed to women in need. And also at the moment we have reusable pad production in Eastern Indonesia, so that we could bring reusable pads in those areas with a lot of cheaper and affordable prices. So we try to balance that, target market. Because we believe that menstruation is a human right. Everyone should have access to clean and sustainable products. That's why we're just starting, and we believe that at least in the next 5 years, we could tap into 1 million women that could be our user and use our products. So at the moment, that's what we are aiming to do.
Thank you very much. And we really hope that we will be able to continue the journey with you with our next 20 years, or at least the next few years. And your title is really, it's perfect fit. I mean,
yes.
You have selected a very good title. So congratulations. And as
Thank
I said, I
much.
hope we will be working together. Let us move to the last panel member, last but not the least. You were all talking about you want finance, you want access to finance and so on. Of course, this is not a bank, but it's from Philanthropy. And usually these are the ones who can come with the first support and see eventually how we can enlarge it, and even come with the major support. But I'm not asking here Martijn to come with a check. So please, Martijn, the floor is yours. Can you explain to us how you are working and how you are providing access to small and medium enterprises?
Sure. Thank you, Arab. And I have to say, I do disagree a little bit with you. I think I'm one of the least speakers in this panel. The three people that have showcased their businesses before me are the true pioneers and true leaders of this change. So congratulate to all three of you, and thank you for sharing your experience. Next to this, before introducing myself and telling a bit what I'm working on and what I see in this world of investment, is congratulations to Seed as well with the 20th birthday, because I think it's a great achievement. You've been around for 20 years. And again, the entrepreneurs that I've just presented showcase the importance of your work and also share with us the inspiring stories and the inspiring work that they've been doing to really make a difference. Now, the good thing about, I think, Seed and other impact investors out there is that they can promote, can make this work possible, can finance this work, and it saddens me somehow to hear that it's still so difficult for them to reach the finance. First, a little bit about myself. I'm Martijn Blom. I'm pretty much an entrepreneur turned business angel turned impact investor turned fund manager, and I'm now working actually for EVPA, which is a network of about 300 investors for impact. So anywhere from philanthropists to bank that are investing in impact ventures and impact propositions. Within EVPA, I lead the Impact Funds initiative, specifically focusing on the challenges that there are with the impact funds. It's a community of about 1/3 of our members, so about 100 fund managers, and we bring them together to share experience and to share knowledge on topics like deal sharing or talent. And a very important one also with funds is fundraising. The problem with that everybody is having in that sense. I am Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands, but I'm currently talking to you from Cork in the south of Ireland, where I'm attending a conference of business angels in Europe. And what I did see happen, so I hope that is a positive sign, is that we were in Ireland with this conference about 8 years ago as well. And then I was hosting a panel on impact investment for these investors, for these business angel investors in Europe. And we were in a breakout room, really hidden in a back room somewhere. The session started too late because even the speakers couldn't find the room. This was 8 years ago. Yesterday in the conference, the full afternoon from lunch till the end of the meeting was about impact. How can we change the funding to fund the SDGs? What are the opportunities in that? What are the challenges in that? So I think we're still a long way to go, but I think there's something hopeful as well that like a regular finance group like Business Angels are moving strongly in this direction. I think it shows a bit where the movement is right now, and a lot of it is on climate, is on social health problems, is on circularity. So the topics that also have been discussed in this panel. So definitely good to see that. One of your questions was when was the first time you got into touch with seed? And I remember that was through the organization that I worked at before, which is HIVOS Impact Investments. And I was introduced to Reiner actually at a conference of EVPA. And I was for the first time, caught by your approach to supporting these early stage entrepreneurs, which I still think is very important, because there's a tendency in the world of investment and also in the world of impact investment, when people are building business models for their own, so for the funds and for the funders, is that every time they want to kind of step up and go a bit bigger, because otherwise they have challenges of maintaining their own operations as a fund manager. The cost of transactions are high when the amounts are lower. All these kind of things come in play, and I think already at that moment, Reiner and I found a common ground in these conversations, and like you really need to fund this early stage as well, because that's definitely where the gap is and where the most impact can be made to take these companies to a next level, and then move onwards. A second moment that I remember very well, and it was very vivid in my memory, is one of the last travels that I made for HIVOS Impact Investments was actually in South Africa just before the pandemic, so somewhere late 2019, and I visited an event of Seed, which was held in South Africa. And also there, the energy and the entrepreneurs coming together, but also the whole ecosystem, other investors, and the opportunity to bring all these people together for like a full afternoon discussing what was possible, what could make a difference, really was inspiring. And most vividly remember also the conversation that I had just before it, and we actually had a great conversation on where do you need to focus, and if you focus on impact, can you also focus on finance? And I think these discussions in all openness need to be held more, and also more in this investor community. And that leads me to the last bit that I want to say at this place before handing back to you, Arab, and please fire some questions on the community. What I see then is what I really like, and where I think like Seed is really an example to the community, also the community within EVPA, is not only the great work that they do and all the things that we see and all the compliments that I've seen coming by here in the chat as well, which of course are great, but also your openness and willingness to learn, to change your approach, and to share these learnings with a bigger community. Actually, my colleague notified me when I was agreeing to be on this call. She said, my colleague Anya, maybe you know her, Anya said, like, when they were 10 years old, they brought out this great report with learnings that they shared with everybody. And I think I think that's exactly what this sector needs. Impact investors tend to forget that it's a young sector. The example that I just had 8 years ago, we were in the back room. Now we're mainstream. This young sector needs organizations that are also willing to kind of thoroughly research their approach and thoroughly be very open on sharing what those learnings are, so everybody can enjoy those learnings, so we can grow also this sector together and provide better opportunities to the entrepreneurs out there. So I'd like to leave it with that. I'm happy to take your questions, Aaron.
Thank you very much, Martijn. From the back room to the main room. From your side, and this is exactly what we want to do for the small and medium enterprises, from the edge to the center. Mm-hmm. And of course we need to do the same process as you did, but of course our enterprises are so numerous around the world, still we can do a little bit for that. You know, we're all very how would say scared or worried about the situation of what we call the missing middle, who really remain in the middle and remain missing because they are at the edge, they are in the back room, they don't move on. But we have seen 3 cases here. There are many more of very successful, enthusiastic entrepreneur. So if I can ask on their behalf, if they want to come to you or to other philanthropic institutions and even to the banks, what would you recommend them to better advocate their cause with those investors, angels or others? Where do you believe they can make a hit if they will insist more on this or on that? How would they better make their case from your perspective?
Thinking out loud here, so forgive me for not giving the answer directly, because it's a bit the $1 million question, of course, you're asking here. But actually, I don't think they, and that's also the sad. It's also a bit of sad answer, I realize, but there's not much more they can do, which sounds a bit strange. But I think, like, if these people that have presented their cases just yet, they're doing a great job presenting their cases, so they're doing amazingly already. So the problem, I don't think, is necessarily on the entrepreneur side. The problem is more on the investor side, and how can investors kind of create products that fit their narrative or can change their narrative to fit it to the entrepreneurs. And I think there is where where we need to advocate, or where we need to show what is possible, and where we need to show the risk is not as big as people are presuming. And I think we are moving the needle a bit. Also, that's why I came with this example from the back room to the main room. The risk from going to the back room to the main room, I'll give it that immediately as well, is that if big finance comes into the main room talking about impact, they are not talking about 20,000 euros. They are talking about millions, billions. So they were looking for products in which they can, deploy millions and billions, which is not, again, in these early stage entrepreneurs. So I think that's up to us and up to the community that is directly investing and working with these early stage companies to keep that up. I see a lot of things. I don't have a concrete example right now. Earlier this week, I spoke with investment advisor type person on impact, particularly, who is kind of constructing these ways in which big finance can be deployed in a way that big finance understands, and that money can go to where the impact can be made. So that there are new products. There's a lot happening in innovation in the finance industry, particularly on impact, and I think that's a good and interesting movement, and we need to be there and share and learn.
Okay.
not an answer fully to your question. Look, one little thing to add there, because I don't want to kind of stop this answer without giving any tips to the entrepreneurs, is look into the entrepreneurs, look into the investors that you're reaching out to, and understand what they're doing, because you can spend a lot of time even on the investors that you already beforehand know that will never invest in you. So try and get a quick no, or not reach out to them at all, and don't spend energy on where you think the money is, and they're actually open to invest in these smaller companies. Is definitely something that I would advise.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We started a little bit. We need to do much more than that. And that's what we hope we'll be able to do with the coalition that we'll be launching, because it's important to give them a voice and to bridge between the different person. So thank you very much, Martijn. Thank you, colleagues. I know that we have already exceeded the time, but we will be responding to some of the questions by email to the colleagues. So please, I apologize for that, but I want to take 2-3 minutes if we can bring them online, because I have seen on the in the list Ellen Makar and Crispin Rapine. Paula, Simon, is it possible to bring them online? I just want them to say 2 words if we can bring them. Ellen Makar was the first director, and Crispin is the actual board director. So if they are listening, if they wish to come in to say 2 minutes, I'll be more than happy to give them the floor. Would you manage to bring them on board or not? Seems difficult.
Crispin should be able to talk now, but I am not sure if
maybe that
still is in the call.
They were still a while here. Okay, so Ellen is online. Ellen Makar? No, I have seen her name coming up. Okay. I wanted to give them the floor because they are part of the past and the present. Ellen is a part of the past. She built up this program. Crispin is the one who has been leading our work for the last 5-6 years. So, and he's on the current program. I wanted to connect the two, but they cannot join us. So,
it's Crispin. I don't know whether.
Oh, please come in, Crispin.
Hi there.
I just, if you can say a few words from your side before we conclude.
Well, I would only say thank you so much for a fantastic webinar, and of course huge congratulations to Seed on 20 years. And Helen is being shy and hiding behind her camera, but she takes so much of the credit for the work in the first half. There's Helen, for the work in the first half of those 20 years. As Stephan said in his comments earlier, lovely to see Seed coming to maturity, as it were, and to see what has been achieved in the last 20 years. But of course, we all look forward to it being able to achieve so much more in the 20 years going forward. Thank you, Arab, for an excellent webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Crispin. Ellen, can you come in or we close? Ellen?
Thank you so much.
Oh, great to see you.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful. I feel as though I'm a member of the Seed team again. Thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed every second of this. And to see Seed going from absolute strength to strength. It's a huge credit to everybody on the Seed team. That's Adelphi, all the board members, all the supporters and the funders. It's thrilling. It sounds as though all the groundwork is there for you to go another 20 years at least. It's great to hear how much support there is on the UNEP side for carrying the work forward, and the utter commitment of people like Stephan, who helped me enormously when I was there, and is still there and continuing. And Crispin, Great to see you still there. Every success. Happy birthday. I don't have a glass. All I have is a mug. But let me say, congratulations, Seed, and all the best for the future. I shall watch you from afar. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you, Crispin, for coming in for the few minutes. And I will not say anything. You did the conclusion. It was very important for me to have the whole history here. I was glad to see you on the screen. So, colleagues, this was a fantastic webinar. Thank you very much. We have learned a lot, but we still have a lot to do. I mean, successful entrepreneurs, respecting, take responsibly social, environmental, economic, cultural, caring about all those elements, just the thing we need, but that we need to scale up, to replicate, to multiply. We need the governments and international organizations to be more aware of that, and that it makes good environmental, economic, social, cultural sense to work with the small entrepreneurs, the eco-inclusive entrepreneurs who come with the right innovation we need to move ahead in the transition to sustainable development. Let us stop the talks and talks and talks at high level and come down to earth if we want to deliver on the objectives of climate change, which is getting more and more and more urgent. SMEs have the solution. Together we have the solution. We can make it. Thank you very much all. Thank you for joining us and enjoy a wonderful day. Thank you.